Hello and welcome to The Big Fight, the Route to 2019 edition. Now for several months, we have been tracking every twist and turn on the road to 2019, the build-up to the general elections. And now, the journey is nearly done because we are just around the corner from the first phase of polling. And on this particular show, we're going to take a look at all the seats that are actually going to be polling in the first phase. And we're going to get our experts to tell us what they actually make of it, what they think of these, and what the prospects are of the different parties in each one of them. And of course, the biggest chunk that is actually going to be polling is going to be Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, so a special focus on that. But before we get into any of that, let's just take a look at some of the other big news stories that have happened. And it's again been a really newsy week with manifestos coming out across the board, all sorts of developments taking place, rallies where accusations were made, and then a couple of big developments today itself, which is including, for example, the United States saying that perhaps no F-16 was shot down, but also Augusta, a strong attack now being made after the latest, what the ED has now said, strong attack being made by the BJP on the Congress party and on the Gandhi family, and on Ahmed Patel also, by the way, saying that they have in a sense been indicted, and therefore this is something that could have a major political impact. Well, is it going to have a political impact or not? And then state by state through all the various states that are polling in the first phase. Let me start by welcoming our guest, Aarti. Great to have you with us to help us understand what's going on. Professor Gaurav Vallabh is with us, who is going to tell us what impact Augusta may or may not have on these elections. Vineet Goenka, our friend from CKS, closely right-thinking person, as I think he would call himself. Amitabh Dubey, is great to have you with us, political analyst. Desh Ratan Nigam joining us as well, as is Mr. Lanka Dinakar, TDP spokesperson, joining us from Vijayawada, and Mr. Ravi Chandra Reddy is going to join us from the YSR Congress in just a couple of minutes. But before I get to all of these various places which are voting and start analyzing manifestos, let's just take a look at the big developments of this week. So, let me start off by asking you.
Yeah.
A strong attack by the Prime Minister now on Augusta Westland. And again, a couple of these themes are going to be playing in with what the BJP has been saying and saying. They said it in 2014, may well have been a major factor why the BJP won in 2014. It's a corrupt Congress government and the leadership has been taking money, and Mr. Modi is now out there saying that this proves it.
A single uncertified page got leaked by ED, and what they are trying to do, I had 3-4 questions on that. Is Augusta deal executed? No. Does we got the compensation 2,000 crore rupees we got? My 3 questions is that why the blacklisting which we made on Augusta, why that got removed? Why Augusta was a part of Make in India program? Why Augusta was allowed to bid in 100 Navy helicopters purchase? Why the Modi government had not filed a second appeal when they were defeated in the Italian court? There are no answers. But I just want to say the same tatparta, the same eagerness why you had not shown in the Yedurappa diary, where 1800 crore rupees, Amit Shah's name was there, Advani's name was there, Sushma ji's name was there. Why ED had not done anything on that, and Yedurappa had signed on that diary? No answer to that. See, issue is that, Vikram, they are trying to divert the 72,000 Hamla, which they think that this is something by which they are going to lose the election. The diversion tactics is not going to work. The Nyay is going to work for the people of country.
Some of these, I mean, those are interesting questions. How would you answer them?
See, if you see both the cases, whether it is Rafael or whether it is Augusta, I see they coming from the same place. For example, Augusta Westland, the lowering of the standards, access to the high offices which should not have been given to a middleman that were given. You clearly see mentioning of alphabets like AP, FAM, and then admission by the accused that it was Ahmed Patel and then the family, that is the first family of Congress. You see somebody been brought extradited, a high level fugitive has been brought back, which I have never seen in the 7th decade. You don't get fugitives just because you ask them to give it back. There is a legal process in that particular country and also a diplomatical channel which has to be followed. You understand them very well. So that was so there is a first victory. He has admitted that, and they know that strings will come to their necks very, very closely. Secondly, about he has not mentioned about Rafale, but let me mention about Rafale. The story of Rafale also comes from 10 Janpath. When they knew that, like Bofors, this will haunt them, so they created a story. This is a government-to-government deal. There is no middleman. There is no money trail.
Okay, look, if I start analyzing Augusta Westland or Rafale, which we have spent more hours discussing than just about anything else, I think we'll be here all day and all evening.
Seriously, Vikram, had he answered any question?
Okay,
which I asked him.
Okay,
why blacklisting got removed.
Right,
my question. Why Augusta was allowed to put bid in the Navy.
This is a program with a very specific mandate. Which issues are going to affect the general election? How are people going to vote? Somebody is going to try and return to that. So, Amitabh, let me throw that to you. Okay, we know what the Congress is going to say. We know what the BJP is going to say. Frankly, the BJP these days has a very great reach in being able to get its message out, which is perhaps more than the Congress does. So if you're going to see today, tomorrow, next few days, for a long period of time, all the way through to the elections, you're going to have saturation coverage on television channels and everything else saying family in the dock and, Congress party exposed and the rest of it. So therefore, is this going to be a vote gatherer for the BJP?
The Augusta issue.
Yeah.
I think there is a general perception that the BJP manages these issues very well and very strategically. So we will forever, as our friend here said, that the noose is coming for the neck. We've all been waiting and watching this noose do a dance in a very orchestrated manner. And we've seen this repeatedly, that the so-called anti-corruption issue has basically become a political issue, and there's never any closure, evidence, or conclusion. I think broadly, the two key issues are for sure going to be, from the BJP side, of course, Modi's development agenda plus the Balakot impact. And if there was a CSDS poll that came out just today in the Hindu, it showed that he did get a bump from the Balakot issue. Over the last year or so, the vote gap in opinion polls between the UPA and the NDA has narrowed from 14 percentage points a year ago to 4 percentage points, which tells you that before Balakot, we were headed for a broad coalition regardless of who won. He got a bump from that. But similarly, what the survey found is that people who have heard of Nyay had just been announced while the survey was going on. There was a big bump for Rahul Gandhi approval. So Modi is gaining from the Balakot phenomenon, and Rahul Gandhi is gaining from the Nyay.
So I'm going to come back to Balakot because, F-16 and all of these things what the US is saying, is that going to have an impact? But specifically Augusta, is that going to make a difference? Yes, no, people are not going to care, too late. It will be seen as, the Congress is going to say, yeah, this is, we've already heard Ahmed Patel saying that this is entirely ED is acting as an agent of the NDA sort of.
Well, so far, it's in the realm of debate and discussion. There is no evidence that it will. But the same poll I mentioned suggested that about 30% of people knew about the Rafale allegation and believed the Rafale allegation. Now, a lot of people have criticized Rahul Gandhi and the Congress for going after an issue that doesn't really play out. But the opinion poll evidence is showing that it does play out and is having an impact.
Okay, if Rafale is having an impact, is this going to have an impact, Augusta?
Vikram, the real challenge to the BJP is coming not from the Congress in these elections, but from regional parties. You just look across India, the big states, UP, Bengal, Bihar, the United Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu. Who are the challengers to the BJP?
That's in one area. There's another very large area where the fight is.
But these account for about 200 to 300 seats.
Yeah.
And that is the real challenge for the BJP is coming from these regional parties. Augusta is an old story and it relates to the Congress, not to these regional parties. So, the PM's going on and on hammering away at the Congress party, but he really should be looking at the regional parties and talking about them. He's not. So I think that, if even in the first phase, where are the elections going to be held? They're going to be held in states where regional parties are in contest, in play. So
okay,
what is the resonance for
that's
Augusta?
Actually an interesting point. And Deshat and Nigam, let me throw that point to you. As the BJP and the Congress keep attacking each other, and that as Aarti is saying, that may well play itself out in a certain manner. Could the unintended beneficiaries perhaps be some of the regional parties as well? Look at Uttar Pradesh, and especially in the area that is voting right now. A lot of talk about, is the Congress going to eat into BSP, SP votes? So nobody knows if the Congress does better in Uttar Pradesh, whom is it going to help? Is it BJP or the others? Deshatan, which way is it going to play out?
See, the fact remains that BJP and Congress, I mean, you have to presume that it's a national party now, and there is Vikram, there is an echo. You have to get it corrected. There's a lot of echo.
Okay, we'll pause on this for a minute while we get the echo corrected. And so, in fact, while we're getting your echo corrected, which we are no doubt going to do right now, let me start jumping to the first of the states. Let's now turn our attention to phase one. And I'm going to get all of you to play moving psephologists in every state, and we'll try and look at some of the issues that are there. Let me start off with this, the biggest of the states that is actually voting in the first phase, which is Andhra Pradesh, of course. Here's Andhra Pradesh. These are all the seats in Andhra are actually voting right now. This is the entire country where phase one is taking place. Andhra, of course, all the seats actually are going to the polls. It's being said YSRC, the YSR Congress versus TDP is the battle. A lot of people have been saying that, you know, maybe Jagan has got an edge out here. Some people wondering how the Kalyan factor and other factors are actually possibly, you know, going to play themselves out. Let me just come to all of our guests out there. Lanka Dinakar, your sense of what the key issues are that are playing themselves out in Andhra Pradesh right now.
Yeah, Vikram, we are going to register landslide victory with 20 plus parliament seats and 150 plus assembly seats with the blessings of 1 crore women, Dwakra women, and 60 lakhs farmers
Can
who
I quickly
benefited by loan redemptions and another
20 seats out of the 25 for the Telugu Desam party. Would you like to take a small wager on that at some point?
Absolutely. We are going to get the goal because the positive mood vote, especially if you see the meetings of the Chandrababu Naidu Garu, women are dancing. They are getting the benefits from the government, welfare programs. On the other hand, the union government not provided proper assistance. Though we have problems, he has provided 1 crore women as a Paspu Kunkuma program. It is a super hit program. 60 lakh pensioners who are getting 1,000 and it get doubled to 2,000 and 3,000. It is a huge response we are getting. And then come to the farmer loan redemption. 74 lakh farmers getting benefit. Even tenant farmers are getting benefit from Annadata Sukhi Bhava. Unemployee allowances, more than 10 lakh youth are getting huge amount of the employment opportunities through FDI, Kia, Foxconn, Cellcon, Isuji, industries. Every part we have shown our record. Let you see that
we heard you.
10.88%, which is far higher than the national average.
Mr. Dinakar, I'm going to interrupt you in full flow because otherwise you have your entire election speech out here. We still have 5 days, and I'm sure you said a lot of this on a campaign trail. Let me just see what the YSRC has to say about all that you have said. Ravi Chandra Reddy, let me turn to you. He's saying 20 out of 25 seats for the Telugu Desam party. Somewhat unkindly, I said I would be surprised, and I'm willing to wager, I don't know, a pepperoni pizza or something like that with him on that particular issue. How do you see? What would be your call on the way Andhra is going to pan itself out?
Yes, sir. Sir, namaskar, good evening.
Good evening.
Sir, we are representing YSR Congress Party, and YSR Congress Party, Mohan Reddy sir is heading to become Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh. And he is going to create sensation from Andhra Pradesh, and he is going to sweep the polls. Out of 175 assembly seats, we are going to get 135 to 145 seats. And in seats, out of 25, we are going to around 23 seats. This is full polarization. It will be, in fact, creating things. In national media also, you can reflect it. And even today, all national media focusing in their own surveys, which actually various channels have been asking. In all channels, actually the seats for YSR Congress for category is 23. We are also expecting near to 23. Other than that, 1 or 2 out of 5. We are trying in those areas also.
Okay.
Every parliament seat have constituencies. They have.
All right, we are struggling, Mr. Reddy, we are struggling to hear you very clearly, but I think I got the gist of what you had to say. And if I can summarize for viewers who are trying to struggle to figure that out. We had Lanka Dinakar saying the TDP is going to sweep, and we had Ravichandra Reddy saying that the YSR Congress is going to sweep. Many of the independent analysts seem to feel that the latter is more likely. But of course, there is one other factor, Pawan Kalyan, and what actual impact that might have on the ground, where he did speak to NDTV just a short while back. This is what Pawan Kalyan had to say about how he thinks it's going to pan out and whether he's actually going to be playing the kingmaker.
This time I want to form our own government, because first of all, I don't like to entertain a thought of being a kingmaker. And I don't like to use the word king, because being democracy, I don't like to use the word king or kingmaker both. We are here, I prefer a council which really does the right things for the society. And because if I say that I'm in your particular phrase, words called a kingmaker or king, if I start saying, even thinking that means I'm not giving my best to fight independently. So even at a thought level, I don't think that way. I prefer to give my best to have a majority, to win a majority of seats, form our own government.
Okay, now who's going to actually win, we'll soon figure out, but I'm just going to get one last quick thought, both from Mr. Dinakar and from Mr. Reddy. Two questions. After the election, which side will support go? If YSR does the seats, will it go to the NDA or will it not go to the NDA if a few seats are short? TDP, I assume, is going to be closer to the Congress party. Is that the right way to look at it? And also Pawan Kalyan, if he does actually, he says he doesn't want to think of himself as a kingmaker. If he does end up as a kingmaker, whom is he likely to go with? Lanka Dinakar, let me throw that to you first.
We first remove Modi to safeguard the nation as well as fulfill the promises of the AP reorganization assurances and special category status. Apart from Modi B team, Jagan Mohan Reddy shall be removed from the Andhra Pradesh, because 5 crores people's self-respect has mortgaged at the footstep of the Narendra Modi. When the Narendra Modi is not supporting for special category status, but Jagan Mohan Reddy roaming around the Modi, and he also supporting KCR. KCR also against to the special category status. He hasn't completed assets bifurcation. He hasn't transferred the funds, 5,000 crores, which should be transferred from the state of Telangana to Andhra Pradesh as far as areas of electricity department. These are all the things. Apart from that, KCR is telling that he wants to grab 7 mandals of Polavaram. When the Jagan Mohan Reddy is going to gift, how he make agreement with KCR to hand over the 7 mandals. These are all the questions asked by the 5 crores on the people.
Fine. We heard you, Mr. Dinakar, loud and clear. Thank you so much for joining us. Let me get in some others who, if not entirely neutral, might be in a position to try and say. So Andhra obviously in phase 1. Andhra, Telangana, like 42 seats between them. Quick sense from each of you as to how it's going.
Well, I mean, I think...
I'll put up Telangana also while we are talking, so you can speak on both of them. So we are talking about Andhra till now. Telangana also 17, again TRS. Many experts and people, poll pundits, saying that maybe TRS is very well positioned there, but
he's already, I think, positioned himself in Telangana, because he swept actually the assembly polls just a few months ago.
Things can change, but unlikely to change that much in such a short period. But all right,
fine. Andhra is going to be a very interesting battle, because I think Chandrababu Naidu is a good election manager, but this time he may not have chemistry on his side. The chemistry may be with Jagan Reddy actually, because he is the outsider who's trying to break in. And he's been on the road for the last 1.5 years, conducting a, sort of barnstorming campaign across Andhra. I would hesitate to say who wins. Would it be, Chandrababu Naidu's, very shrewd election management, or Jagan Reddy's chemistry?
Okay, let me get Amitabh Dubey in before I come to all of you.
I think it's the general sense, of course, many people have is that there is some anti-incumbency. But the situation is complicated by the fact it's actually a multipolar contest, even though we don't generally think of it as such. So you have a Congress in there, you have a BJP in there, and then, of course, you have Pawan Kalyan's party. And so it really depends. So if the Congress erodes some of the YSRCP's vote, then it really helps TDP. And conversely, if the BJP eats into the TDP vote share, it goes the other way. So I think there'll be quite a lot of variability in the possible
Is that
outcomes.
one of the factors why the TDP and the Congress perhaps are not entirely together also, like they were trying to do in Telangana earlier, hoping that the Congress would eat into YSRC's
Yeah,
seats?
it seems not to have worked out in Telangana, so that may have
But of course,
something to do
TDP far stronger in Andhra than
Yeah,
it is
yeah, of course, yeah,
in Telangana. All right, now from the Congress party's point of view, when you look at Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, is it almost a threat from your view of saying, okay, let's get the Modi government out there? BJP may not be winning too many seats out there, but potentially all the seats that the TRS gets and all the seats that the YSRC gets, that's nearly, that's out of 42 seats, it could be a fairly significant number. All of those potentially seats that come to Narendra Modi after the election and saying, fine, we're going to back you to become Prime Minister.
Vikram, we are going to this state with our positive agenda, and this is 3-point agenda. I can tell you in 1 minute's time. First, Nyay. We are going to give Nyay to the people of country. The 5 crore families are going to get 72,000 rupees annum. Second, we are addressing unemployment, which is across the country. 34 lakh government jobs are going to be filled up, private jobs we are going to boost up, and the third is the farms distress. The farm distress is very specific in Andhra and Telangana. And fourth, which is specific to Andhra, is that we are with the special status. So I am very hopeful, Vikram.
They've announced.
Just a sentence. I am very hopeful that Congress party is going to win more than 50% of the seats in both the states together.
You want to bet on that also?
I'm
quickly
see,
getting
I
in
am
all my
not
bets out
psychologist, but with this positive agenda, because I am having a hope on my agenda. That's the reason I am telling you.
Okay, hope does spring eternal, but I would be almost as surprised by the Congress party winning. I mean, who knows? Anything is happening, but I would be almost as surprised by that as by the BJP getting 50% of the seats in Andhra.
I didn't get a chance to go.
But Vineet, my point on when you're looking at Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, if you were Narendra Modi or you were in the BJP, would you say these two states are under control, in inverted commas, because we could possibly get TRS support and YSRC support, so we're happy?
See, I didn't get a chance to go to Telangana, but I visited Andhra Pradesh and I especially visited the ST-SC, this thing. So I visited Arakku, I visited Amlapuram, I visited Bapatla. There are 3 SC/ST reserved places, and also Nellore and Tirupati is also SC reserved. But Nellore and Tirupati have access to the traffic of tourism which comes, or the pilgrimage which comes to the temple of Tirumala. So they still have bread and butter on their table. But in Arakku, I'll tell you this, Arakku, Arapalam and this Patla, they are extreme tribal areas. And what the half...
what's your point? That the BJP is going to win there, or these guys are going to come with you?
I'm making 3 points. Then probably then you understand the mood of the entire state there. So there the half voters, the half voter is the gender females. The women of the voters, they said, we got our toilets in this last 4-5 years.
Okay, and so you're saying support for Narendra Modi out there.
And this is, I'm talking about in Arakku, Alapuram and Bapatla.
Okay,
so toilets.
We'll see. I mean, anecdotal
and I'll tell you
evidence.
one more thing. When you go to uptown Hyderabad, people have not forgotten the way Narasimha Rao was insulted by the current president's mother.
We'll see. Ravichandra Reddy, just wanted to ask you, we heard from Jagan Reddy also saying that special status, whoever gives special status, the YSRC is going to go with them. Congress has put that into its manifesto. Does that affect your thought process in any way, or is your natural inclination more with the NDA?
Definitely, sir. Tomorrow we are going to release our manifesto. Tomorrow afternoon, on the occasion of Ugadi, the auspicious day, in Vijayawada, we are going to release our manifesto tomorrow. Even in manifesto also, special category status will be our top priority, and whoever may come to power in central government, we will support them under the clause of special category development, who actually can deliver to Andhra Pradesh. This is the only cause actually we can...
So if the Congress, so I'm just sort of pushing you on that a little bit. The Congress party in its manifesto says yes, special status. So the Congress party was to be slightly short of the numbers at the, let's say the Congress, UPA, other allies come together, did they come to you and say, will you support us? We've got special status in our manifesto and therefore we'll do it. You're saying it is possible you could support them also?
Sir, they may keep their special category status in the manifesto. It is not enough because UPA is not elected its own leader today. Even Rahul Gandhi is not nominated as UPA chairperson now. And who may we least bother about, we are not for central government. We actually will take part in central government from outside or from inside, but our top priority will be the special category status for Andhra Pradesh state.
All right.
Andhra Pradesh is our top priority, so that we are going to sweep the polls, and all national surveys already projected that the vote percentage difference from Telugu Desam to YSR Congress Party, the YSR Congress Party is leading way ahead with 10 to 12% ahead actually. The Telugu Desam Party is whereas projected as 36% in latest surveys, and YSR Congress Party is projected at 48.5% to 49.5% right now.
All right, let's see how it actually pans out on the ground. Thank you, sir, as well for joining us. Before I start jumping to the other states, we spent a fair amount of time on Andhra and Telangana because they're the largest. Just wanted to remind you of some of the crucial numbers. You might want to keep your eye on that. Andhra, what actually happened in the 2014 Lok Sabha elections? Let's not forget that. TDP got 15 seats. It was an alliance, of course, with the BJP, which got 2. And the YSRC got 45.4% of the vote with just 8 seats. So, not that much of a gap in terms of votes in that particular election, but TDP getting 15 seats to YSRC's 8, BJP getting 2, Congress drawing a blank with just 2.8% of the vote. That's what happened last time. Now let's see how things have changed this time. In Telangana, this is what happened in 2014, where the TRS took 11 of the seats out there with 35% of the vote. Congress 25% was at number 2. TDP came in at 13%. And the BJP. But I guess what the TRS will say is, don't even look at 2014, look what happened
before
in the
you can move
elections.
to some other state. Can I just add 3 lines, because I spent some time there in Andhra.
Yeah.
So one is, there is an OSC factor also that was not discussed in the last time. And secondly, you see the Kamma community is now against CV Naidu. So that's
let's see how it pans
input,
out.
We should, people who have seen
let me get Deshratan in as I jump to the next state that I'm going to look at. Now look, there are a number of seats that actually went to the polls. Next state is also interesting, is obviously Orissa. Now, remember, it's a very fragmented election process this time around. Many states, 3-4 seats are voting, the rest are going to be voting in other phases. Andhra and Telangana are almost an exception in this election, where the entire states are voting in bulk. So, turn your attention to Orissa. These are actually the constituencies in Orissa that are going to be polling in phase 1. The Kalahandi areas and others in particular are the ones that we need to be looking at. Key issues to your mind? Actually, Deshratan, let me ask you that. Orissa, like Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, is Orissa another one of those states where the BJP feels, or if you were Narendra Modi, you would be feeling, well, all right, whether we win seats ourselves or not doesn't really matter. It's very possible that the Biju Janata Dal will come and support us afterwards. And specifically, any thoughts on these seats which are voting right now? Kalahandi, these are the areas in the western parts of Orissa. You can also call it, many of these are slightly impoverished areas where the tribal areas have also been. Your sense of any of these? Deshratan Nigam.
See, the fact is that the BJP is in direct contest with the BJD out there. So this is BJP's contesting for winning these seats, not for looking ultimately who will support BJP in the center or not. They are going for an all-out push, and the reports from the ground are that they are going to make substantial gains in Odisha, especially in this election, Lok Sabha election. And there is also a possibility that they will be winning a substantial amount of assembly seats, since both the elections are taking place simultaneously. And especially in those regions which were impoverished, lot of the central government schemes have gone on the ground. This is one state where the schemes were not opposed by, say, example in West Bengal, where there is opposed Ayushman Bharat and other schemes also. So here the schemes have gone on the ground, taken good shape, and that is going to pay dividend to the BJP, and BJP is going to make a substantial gain in this election.
Okay, Amitabh?
Yeah,
that basic thesis I was saying, Telangana, Andhra, perhaps even Orissa, are these all 3 states, and if you add them up, potentially YSRC, Biju Janata Dal and the TRS, between them 40-45 seats, maybe 40 seats, let's say, between all of them. It could actually make the difference if the NDA, even if the NDA falls, ends up at 230, 235, with these 3 states, if those parties support them, they can get over the line.
I think the quick point I'll make it is that in Orissa, I think there has been some improvement in the Congress's chances, because the Congress has a very substantial vote base, even though it hasn't been converting it into victories. And about a year or two ago, the feeling was that the BJP was gaining in Western Orissa, but some of the leaders have now left the BJP. And politics in these states is often very local and dependent on the leader. And generally, we've seen in the recent elections, the tribal vote has been going towards the Congress. Jal, Jungle, Zameen issues, the Congress has been able to tap into all the issues that for instance, the displacement of forest dwellers, so on and so forth. That said, I think broadly you're correct that these states are regional party stories. The caveat I would put is that in Andhra Pradesh, for instance, the TDP could support the NDA, but unlikely if Mr. Modi is the Prime Minister. There's, of course, a chance that a non-Modi prime ministerial candidate would be able to bring in the TDP. But my sense is that the relations have deteriorated quite a lot.
But if the YSRC in any case gets more seats in the TDP, why would the NDA want to make that choice, I guess, would be a question.
Right, so it all depends on that.
It all depends on how many seats.
My point is, I think they will go with whoever is the stronger alliance. They could go with the UPA, they could go with the NDA.
Aarti, I just wanted to ask you, in Orissa and in Andhra both, is there the possibility that whatever happens in the state election, okay, it's possible one party sweeps, forms a government, there's no issue then. Somewhat unlikely that there's going to be a hung state assembly, but if it does happen, then could whoever supports the regional party at the state level have an impact on their support at the national level, or is that unlikely to be a factor?
Look, I think, Naveen Patnaik's popularity, despite having been in power for almost 2 decades, seems to be pretty much intact, and largely because he is Biju Patnaik's son, and Biju Patnaik is, kind of a revered hero in Orissa.
But it's a long time to ride on that particular
No, it is a
legacy.
long time. But he has been fortunate.
2 decades.
No, yes, Vikram. But he's been fortunate that there's been no real opposition to him. I mean, the Congress has, really not been able to come up as an opponent to Naveen Patnaik. At one point, the BJP was making serious inroads into the tribal belt, but that was when it was in alliance with BJD. Now, even that seems to have, sort of petered out. And if the BJP was serious about, taking on Naveen Patnaik, it should have built up a local leader. Dharmendra Pradhan has now been put into the fray as a potential possible CM candidate on the eve of elections.
So, assuming Naveen Patnaik wins, let me just turn to you then. Assuming Naveen Patnaik, as Aarti says, wins Odisha, as many people are expecting him to do. Does the Congress party have any cards at all to play, assuming he gets a lot of seats in Orissa, to say support us and don't support the NDA? BJP is a longer term threat to you in Orissa than perhaps the Congress is right now, although I'm not even sure how you can go to him and say make a statement like that.
Vikram, on this I can't say anything right now, but on the seats where the polling is going to take place on April 11th, on these seats is a tribal Bahulya area, this is a tribal belt, and if you will go through our manifesto, there is a specific chapter on tribal, and Forest Right Act, which is a long pending Forest Right Act of 2006, which the current government had tried to dilute. Okay. We are going to implement that, and the land rights on to the local people will be given again back, which were taken by both BJD and BJP.
Okay, let me now just quickly whip through, Vineet, before I come back to you. Let me quickly whip through some of the other seats that are actually voting. And remember, we are taking you through all the areas that are voting in the first phase. Many phases to go, but this is first phase. Let's just show you some of the other seats that are coming up. If you can have those maps back up. Couple of interesting seats in West Bengal are coming up, Sikkim, Tripura. So here we have it. Let's just look at them. So that's West Bengal, both at the very north and at the very south, Alipurdwar and Cooch Behar. That's what's voting in West Bengal. I'm going to go through some of these and then throw it back. Let's take a look at that. Sikkim is voting, obviously. Moving on, we're going to have one of those seats in Tripura that is voting. Tripura West in particular is voting. You're going to have both the seats in Arunachal that are going to be polling. A bunch of seats in Assam are there, and especially on the eastern side, which is Tezpur and Jorhat and Lakhimpur and all of these states. Meghalaya is also going to be polling. Both the seats in Meghalaya are coming up. Mizoram, the seat is coming up this time. Nagaland, the seat will be coming up this time. Manipur, one of those 2 seats, outer Manipur in other words, and Nagaland. So these are just some of the seats. I'm just going to pause it there before I come to Bihar and some of the other areas in Uttar Pradesh. Let's just pause it there, look at the northeast a little bit. Now, lots of talk has been there that this is the BJP's big opportunity, substantially increase in the northeast. That talk has somewhat gone down in recent weeks, especially after the Citizens' Bill. When you see all of those states right now, how many of them would you feel really confident, Vineet, in saying, yeah, this is a short shot for the BJP? I mean, state Tripura, well, all right, fine, you know, whatever's going to, BJP did really well in Tripura. Some of those other states, the BJP may think it has a really strong chance in. But Assam, states like Assam, for example, where the BJP had already got a fair number of seats in 2014, may have wanted to expand. There's some question marks whether you'll actually be able to retain even the tally that you got last time. How do you see the northeast?
So before I answer the northeast, let me come on the Orissa because I didn't get a chance. As you know that I was on the task force with Mohan the Spy. So we had to go to various ports and Paradip is one. So from Balasore to Puri, there are 5 constituencies. If you see Balasore is there, then there is Bhadrak, there is I think Jagat Singhpur is one and Puri. Out of this, they were not developed. What benefited them is the Sagarmala, the road connectivity because of the port development.
Okay.
And this gave them a lot of this. Otherwise, you would see ODIs coming out of Odisha and working somewhere else. But they have gone back now because of that. That development is there.
Okay.
And let me take on the northeast. I went from Guwahati to Shillong and then to Taru on the road because there was a decision that there should be a road to be made and there was a study to be done. So I was there in Prashant Pol. We were both there on the trip. You will not believe. It took 14 hours. And now if you go there, it's just 2.5 hours. Reason because there's just one thing been done, road. And the moment road is done, then you see, you know, some chai wala coming up, some pakoda wala coming up, some repair of the tire will come. There is an economy which comes up on that. So even if they make fun of the pakoda wala, now the people have got jobs there in Meghalaya. If you go to Bada Pani there, you will see that Bada Pani is developed in the center because it is connected with Guwahati airport in 1 hour. Let me take you to Arunachal. There is a place called as Zairo, which is the end, which has also sometimes been spelled as zero, Z-E-R-O. How many hours? Even if you are an IS officer or you are a politician, it would take 24 hours to reach the reason because you fly to Guwahati, then take a chopper ride, then take a...
So development has come to the northeast,
now
no doubt.
Reach in 6 hours. And do you think people of northeast will not understand this connectivity? And I think the connectivity which has been done, especially with the NHIDCL coming up, National Highway...
Okay. In both cases, you think connectivity is...
That has been tremendously been done. I think
it's
nowhere in my life...
so much on development, whether it's Orissa or the northeast or whatever. Why is the PM then going on and on about national security?
No, this is my own experience.
Why is he not,
using
development as his main campaign plank during these elections?
No, let me answer you. Aarti ma'am, this is where I have visited myself. I have covered that area. I have covered that area on the road, ma'am. That's why I know this particular because I was on the task force.
It's an interesting point that why is a lot of this not being raised in the campaign trail. Now, can I just ask you?
Yeah.
Now, on the northeast, if you look at any election, I mean, look at the history of elections, the northeast there would always be these 10, 15 seats in the northeast that would quietly go into the Congress party's kitty, right? All of the states may say, okay, there's only 1 seat here, 2 seats here, 2 seats here, but they all add up. There are 25 seats, right? So at the end of the day, all of those seats used to add up to the Congress party's kitty. This time, there was an expectation from the Congress party's point, I'm sure you would have been concerned about that, most of them would have ended up in the BJP. Have things turned after the citizenship bill or no? Because many of those parties which were unhappy with the BJP have now seemed to have gone back.
See, Vikram, our firm belief is that the important issue is only development at the end. That's what we believe. And I just want to
in the northeast, you haven't necessarily done a good job of it.
I just want to remind my friend from BJP that just 2 days back, Arunachal CM's convoy, 1.8 crore rupees cash, but no answer. Tapurgaon, who is the BJP president and a candidate from Arunachal, he was also in the same. And he is a habitual offender. Just a week back at the Guwahati airport, he was found with some more money. People are seeing very silently. Tripura CM, what kind of funny statements, I don't want to repeat because I don't want to make my friend uncomfortable. What kind of statement? Pan ka dukan laga lo, gaay ke carbon dioxide, oxygen. What kind of jokes they are making in the entire northeast? People are watching and they are again going to vote for the Congress.
Let me just get the others and we have a bunch of other states.
One single line. People have come out of this. I'll tell you, road connectivity.
1.8 crore पैसा है, कोई दिक्कत नहीं विनीत भाई.
मैं बता दूं,
CM के गाड़ी में.
How can corruption be a major issue at the center when it comes to Augusta and not be an issue elsewhere?
I'll tell you, Northeast had never seen this kind of 968 kilometers been built. You understand, Vikram? traveling for 12 hours and 13 hours just to cover 140 kilometers. So people now will understand this. Number two, I'll tell you one more thing. The 5 kilo gas cylinder is also something which has been remembered by
Vikram, he is telling that corruption is okay, provided roads we are going to construct, we are free to move 180 lakh rupees in the CM's convoy. Had you any time in the history of the parliament heard, Vinit bhai, kabhi aapne suna ki 180 lakh rupiya CM ki gaadi se mil jaye?
Okay, I want to turn to Maharashtra and Uttar Pradesh and the others in just a second or two. Your quick sense of the Northeast?
So the last time the BJP got about half the seats in the Northeast, which have roughly 25 seats. So I think the potential for a contribution, a big gain there is limited. Whatever gains, even if they gain, it's not going to have a huge impact on the national picture.
Deshatar Nigam, you will recall when we were starting off the road to 2019 about 5 or 6 months back, and we were looking at this entire process. The Northeast was one of the places that you in particular and many others would keep on saying Northeast is where the BJP is going to make big gains. Do you think now some of those gains looking somewhat muted or no?
No, certainly not. The infrastructure and development push that has taken place and the economy that is growing in that region is certainly going to push, and especially NIDA is intact. NIDA is working very, very vigorously and with lot of energy and spirit. So that is what going to deliver on the ground. And Congress is finished there. Let me assure you.
All right. Let me come to some other states.
Congress will be, licking its
wounds. First, the BJP needs to be clear about its narrative on the citizenship bill. There have been contradictory statements coming from the BJP president, from the Home Minister, from the Prime Minister. So at least the narrative should be clear.
I'm conscious of the fact that we're going to soon start running out of time, and I'm conscious that there's still a bunch of states for us to go to. So let's now start heading back into the heartland, shall we? Bihar, also voting. A couple of seats in Bihar are going to be voting. There you are in the southern part of Bihar, Aurangabad, Gaya, Nevada. Actually, a lot of, if you look at it in general, a fair number of tribal seats, because also Bastar in Chhattisgarh that's a single seat in Chhattisgarh. Bastar, obviously, Maoist affected area out there, so a lot of security concerns would be there in Bastar. That's the one seat that is polling in Chhattisgarh. And then let's turn to Uttar Pradesh, which, I mean, if you've heard it once, you've heard it a billion times by now. Perhaps the single most important state in any election, and this one particularly so. Here are the seats that are going to be going to the polls in Uttar Pradesh, and this is actually a very interesting test as to what is going to happen. The RJD factor, BSP and the SP. Logically, we know what happened in some of the by-polls in Kairana and other places. So do they have the dominance? But the Congress is fighting. We saw that Priyanka Gandhi road show today, and saying that yes, we're going to win out here. Is that going to help? And whom is it going to help? That's the question. Will it help the Congress? Will it help the BJP? Will it help the SP, BSP? Nobody is quite sure. And by the way, Uttarakhand, let's not forget, all 5 seats there in Uttarakhand are also polling this time. So, quick bash through from everybody. Aarti, I'm going to get you to go first on this. In this particular area, and I think the first test of UP in this particular area.
And this is a very key test actually for the Gathbandhan. I don't think the Congress is a factor at all here, except in one seat, Saharanpur, where they have a candidate.
But Saharanpur is a perfect example of a seat which the Gathbandhan would have almost certainly got,
except for the Congress's presence.
If it wasn't for the Congress's
presence. That's right. But leave that aside. There are 7 other seats. A lot of them in the sugarcane belt, where there have been a lot of complaints by farmers that they're not getting their dues. So we'll see here, really, this will be a test case, the first phase, for how the Gathbandhan works on the ground. And if the arithmetic actually adds up well, then the BJP is in serious trouble in this belt. And that could have an impact across the state, because as you know, as we saw in 2014 and in 2017, the first phase, once the news starts traveling, it gathers momentum with every phase.
Okay, so is it setting a certain momentum is what Aarti is saying, and this is perhaps the first test of a thesis that I'm sure the Congress is going to hear a lot of. Congress's own seat maximization or worrying about the future of the Congress party, as opposed to saying we want to defeat the BJP government, maybe on test. We mentioned Saharanpur, a seat that is almost would have been a sure shot BSP SP win, and it's difficult to see how they could have lost that seat. They might lose the seat right now because of the presence of the Congress. I'm not saying they are going to lose it, but it's possible that they could lose it because of the presence of the Congress party.
Vikram, I'm repeating that we are going with our agenda. When Prime Minister went to Merit rally, what he talked about sharab, that sharab. Then let me
if you don't like the, that's exactly the thesis. If you want the Prime Minister, and if the Congress party says opposition has to come together to get to do.
Vikram, what I am trying to say, that Prime Minister talks about sharab, we talk about nyay. Prime Minister talk about that a lie that we gave Ganna Kisan everything. This is the news. 20,000 crore rupees is pending. No answer. We talk about how farmers are going to move from the rin maafi se rin mukti ki taraf. How that is our agenda. We are saying that how we are going to
we know what you are saying.
So what I'm trying to say, Vikram, what I'm trying to say, it is a contest between nyay and anyay. Whatever they are trying to do, let us do. We are contesting each and every seat of UP with our heart and soul.
Okay, exactly the question I'm asking you. So that's exactly that. If you ask any political pundit or sophologist, everyone is still trying to understand why you're doing what you're just saying you're doing. You're trying to win every seat with your heart and soul.
Yes.
That's a laudable objective in an election, unless what you just said, oh, look at the Prime Minister and we want the Prime Minister to be removed. That's not necessarily what you should be doing in a state like Uttar Pradesh, is what I think a lot of the rest of the opposition has been telling you.
Answer is very simple. We are going with positivity. We are going with our agenda. We are going with our policy. We are going with what we are going to deliver.
Even if that potentially...
No, Vikram,
even if that potentially helps the BJP.
Sharab se mukti. This is not the agenda of Congress party. This may be the agenda of BJP.
Share. Does the Congress really count in UP? 6% was the vote.
They can count as a spoiler.
6%
They can count as spoiler. But
as I told you, our agenda is positive, positive and positive.
Okay, Deshratan Nigam, how important are these areas in Western, Uttarakhand of course also voting, and Maharashtra, I'll bring the Maharashtra graphic up, Maharashtra, Lakshadweep, Andaman, the other places also voting. What signals are you going to be looking for Deshratan Nigam in this really crucial part of Western UP, which is going to be going to the polls in the first phase? And will it set a signal, as Aarti is saying, for the rest of the state?
See, Western UP, we are... See, Congress does not exist. I agree with Aarti. And exactly, and there will be a split in Jat votes. Jat votes are not going en masse to the Gathbandhan. And we are very clear about it. And BJP is going to make a substantial gain out despite this Gathbandhan. And let me tell you about something that Congress spokesperson has been talking about, Nyay. They threw a googly at the people. Initially they said it's a central scheme, then they said it's a joint scheme with the states. So how are they going to implement it? We don't know. And BJP does not only talk, but it walks the talk. Congress only talks. I can give you 9 policies of 2004 and 2009 manifesto they did not implement. Actually, it was the BJP. Say example, direct benefit transfers to farmers was promised by the Congress in 2004, 2009. They did not do it. Modi government did it. If you look at the health security, it was Modi government through Ayushman Bharat. I can give you all those points. So the googly they throw to the people, they understand now. And about jobs, they said, then they were talking about the state job also, not the central jobs, which are actually being filled in a very speedy manner.
Let me get Amitabh Dubey as I start wrapping up the show. Also, we were seeing these areas of Maharashtra that are going to be voting. I want to come to you. Can I just ask?
Can I get just 5 seconds?
Just one. Let me get
one
Amitabh.
sentence, Vikram. That's all. See, he talked about Jat, non-Jat. We talk about Nyay. That is the difference.
Okay. Your sense of these parts of Maharashtra and Uttar Pradesh, any major signals that you think you should be looking at?
Western UP, obviously these particular seats, Congress is less of a factor. The issue for Congress is going to be that if, for instance, Nyay connects, then it becomes a balancing game. You know, how much do you erode the Gathbandhan, what is the result of that? So it's tricky for the Congress, obviously.
Nyay sort of issues could be connecting with these parts of Maharashtra, which are among the poorer areas in Maharashtra itself.
And we saw in Nagpur, there was a very strong response to the Congress rallies by Nana Patole and others. So I think here they'll be looking to make gains. It is, this is Nitin Gadkari's stronghold. The BJP does have a strong presence. But the issues that the Congress has been pushing, farm, Nyay, I think they have a potential to connect here. So it will be a good contest to watch.
Vikram, the only difference between the esteemed panel here, with due respect, all of them are speaking out from the papers which they are reading or the news which is coming. None of them have gone in the field. Like I gave examples of Andhra Pradesh, Odisha, Arunachal, Meghalaya, Assam, where I have gone personally. I will give you one more example which I went to Prayagraj for Kumbh. It's the first time I never realized that it was an Ardha Kumbh. It was a full Kumbh. And you know how many people came? Few million, which were the number. Who drove me from station to the Kumbh? It was Ismail who drove me. So nobody asks what is the religion of the person who was getting benefited because of this large chunk of people coming. And there is one line. So I had an opportunity to go to Mathura that day.
But you know, any anecdote?
I'll tell you one line, last line, because you know everybody got a lot of chance. So I'll request you give me 10, 20 seconds. I went to Mathura that day, and I was talking to a very senior old lady. And you know what she said, and that was the best thing. When I asked her about Priyanka Robert Vadra, and she said, Dalli to आई है, लेकिन लल्ली को मैया भैया और सैया उसके जो जेल में जाने वाले उसकी चिंता सता रही है. So people talk about Priyanka Robert Vadra and the corruption of Congress party.
Again, I am saying. Lalli, Lalla, Mai. I can also say
Lalli is the word been used in by love by the old people.
I not used that adjective.
Sir, that has been used in Mathura by. Sir, it has been used. That is not my word. It has been used by senior lady with a lot of love.
Sir, मैंने तो नहीं बोला.
Sir, बेटी को बोलते हो आप this is the problem, Vikram. They never go into the fields of the language. अरे कभी तो
we almost maintain civility till the end of this particular program. But I guess at some point the big fight was bound to break out. So I'm going to pause it there for the moment, folks. The road to 2019 starting to culminate, starting to approach the final voting. Let's see what the voters actually do at the end of the day. Bye for now.